Thank you all for joining. We'll begin the webinar in a minute, but first a quick word from Babylon CEO Alexander Olson on Babylon Microfarms.
The way we look at the farm today is you have cartridges in the base, a little bit like a printer, and you plug in those cartridges of nutrients, and then the farm will automatically dose the water reservoir, which fills itself automatically. Then we ship consumables to the client. So that's the cartridges of nutrients, and it's the pre-seeded pods. So a little bit like a Keurig. You pop them in, you scan the barcode, and then the farm knows what to grow. To run a hydroponic system, you have to control the solution the plants are grown in. So that's nutrients, pH, irrigation cycles, and dissolved oxygen. So we remotely control those, and those variables can be different for each type of crop and for each stage of growth. So we have to adjust those throughout the growth cycle, and that's part of the learning experience that we've kind of cut out of the process. And then you have the environment that the crops are grown in. So we're controlling the ventilation and making sure that we have visibility on how the crops are growing. So doing all of that remotely just removes a huge kind of learning barrier that a lot of people face.
Getting on here. First off, everybody, welcome to our webinar, Indoor Farming in the Classroom. It's wonderful to have all of you wonderful humans on this beautiful place we call Earth. I'm your host, Michael, and I'm the Strategic Partnerships Manager here at Babylon Microfarms. And we're on a mission to empower businesses, schools, and communities around the world to grow their own food simply and safely. So we believe in empowering students with the leading technologies of today so that they can invent a more beautiful and sustainable tomorrow. Now, community farming has been used in classrooms across the country, outdoor and indoor gardens alike, to help bring STEM concepts to life and empower students to learn hands-on how to grow their own food. And we're on a mission to help with that. So it's on that note that I'm really excited to introduce you guys to our guest, Kendall Rogers. Kendall is a middle school agriculture teacher and an FFA advisor with Caroline County Public Schools. And she's been using our remotely managed indoor farm, The Gallery, for about the last 6 months. Kendall, is that right?
Yes.
Awesome. Kendall, thank you so much for coming on. And also congratulations on winning a Teacher of the Year award. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Thank you. So I didn't really change anything. I asked my kids, who should I nominate for Teacher of the Year? And they told me to nominate myself, and I was like, I can't do that. Read the rules, it said I could, so they helped me write the application, turn that in, and now I'm going for regional, so we'll see what happens there. So
Okay. Well, you've got my vote, that's for sure. I don't know where I can vote for this, but I'd love to. Because Kendall, you've been a really amazing champion of ours with helping us integrate our systems into a K-12 hands-on learning environment. You've been an early champion and a pioneer of our systems. And I'm excited to get your perspective on how you have been bringing indoor farming to your students this last year. So first off, how did you get involved with bringing a farming system like the Gallery to your school?
So I'll be honest, the first thing that happened was, I guess it was like about this time last year, my school board reached out to me and was like, hey, would you be interested in having a hydroponic system? And I was like, sure. And in my head, I'm thinking just this little tier, like refrigerator sized thing in the corner of my shop somewhere, nothing extravagant. They were like, okay, well, we'll figure it out. We'll get you water, get you power. End of the summer comes, and this gigantic thing that's behind me was sitting in my shop. And I'm like, holy cow, that's a lot of glass and it's huge. Knew nothing about it. And I was like, okay. So we spent the next like 3 months, I think it was like late September, that we finally got it into its location. So it's here in our teacher lounge so everybody can see it. And it's got water system to it, electric, internet, and all that stuff. And kind of jumped in like fire ablazing, just trying to figure it all out. And learning all about it. I even got the opportunity to tour Babylon. So actually come to y'all's facility and see like where the system came from. So originally it did look like the little refrigerator thing that my head was imagining. But now they have these super smart things that do it a lot better than I do. So I'll take this over the refrigerator one anytime. But it's definitely been a learning process. I'm excited to see where we go in the next school year, now that it'll be knowing how it works, getting all the ins and outs, and getting some of the kids to kind of learn with me. That's always fun too. So, but it's definitely an awesome product. I love it to death for what it does for me, because I can't do all of it.
Right. Would you say you've got a green thumb or any experience growing your own food? I know you're an FFA advisor.
I know I'm an ag teacher and I should, but the only plant that I can keep alive without help is actually a wandering Jew. So everything else, for some odd reason, I will kill it on my own. The only thing I've been able to keep is those wandering Jews alive, even in our grow lab in the classroom, which is just like a big room with the closet and the air compressor system. The kids have to keep all that alive because I just don't have the luck there. So with this system, I have lucked out that it keeps track of everything. There's the whole system, and the cloud is what I tell the kids. There's people on the backside of it in the system. I can pull my phone up and look at it. I don't have to worry about, oh, do I need to add nitrogen to this or phosphorus to that, or am I overwatering or too much sunlight? Like, we had 30-degree temperatures last week, and everything we planted out in the raised garden has to be pulled and redone. So, we don't have to worry about with this system. It tells us what to do, when to do it, how to harvest, all of that. So it's definitely been a grace for me, because I'm not the plant girl. I'm an animal person or a
Right.
shop person.
Well, yeah, for those of you that aren't familiar with our systems here, what Kendall's referring to is the fact that our systems are remotely managed from our headquarters in Richmond. So we manufacture the systems ourselves, and then we've designed an app and a software that guides the user through each stage of the growth cycle. And so really, you do not have to have a green thumb. You just need to be able to follow along step-by-step processes from an app. And our team takes care of being the farmers from a distance. And so the cloud that Kendall's referring to is this fleet of farms that we have got being remotely managed from our headquarters across over 220 different locations around the world. That's on some cruise ships, hopefully soon to be in Antarctica. And there's some really, just a lot of use cases that these farms are being used for. And Kendall has, again, thank you for mentioning that it really does make your life and your programming easier. And that means a lot for us to know that we've designed a system that can help these
Because
ideas.
when I saw how big this thing was, I was like, I don't think y'all realize who you gave this to. It might grow something, but it's going to be just like algae at this point. And I was nervous, but seeing it get put together and going through and like just taking a little bit at a time was really helpful. So, and you could always I felt bad at first when I first called, because we had some hiccups at the beginning with our fertilizer. Our nutrient stuff wanted to crystallize, so they had to update it. And I thought it was my fault. So I was like, oh no, all it's doing is growing algae. Everybody in the school was saying, what's all that green stuff? Why aren't you growing plants? And I'm like, I don't know. So I sent the help ticket in and everything. And I want to say it wasn't the same day, just because of timing of the day for us to be here, but the next day they came down, changed everything out. I learned how to redo the system, flush it, all of that. And it was really neat to watch, how quickly somebody can come in and also remind me it wasn't my fault. It was just the nutrients needed to be switched. Because I was worried I'd cleaned something wrong or had done something wrong with the app. And they were like, no, it's pretty foolproof. And I was like, but you don't know who I am. Like, I could mess this up pretty quickly. So I was just like, oh, what can I do? So that was another hiccup I dealt with, but it was kind of nice to do it early on and be able to process it, because our high school has the same system and theirs was booming. Right at the beginning, they were getting in and going, and mine just kind of fumbled over. And I was like, what have I done wrong? And it was growing all this wonderful green algae. And I was like, it's growing something, but not the right thing. So got them to come in, and I had even cleaned it myself ahead of time, and they said I did a good job cleaning it. So I felt good about myself there. But they were like, nope, it wasn't your fault. It's just the nutrients. Now we've got that reset. And since then, I've got mint growing out of my ears, I think. And then the butterhead lettuce has been a really big thing for our cafeteria too.
Yeah, so on that note, so you've got the farm that came into your student, it's in the teacher's lounge, and you've got your students in your agriculture classes using the farm. Can you tell us a bit about how the students are utilizing it?
So we're not utilizing it as much as I want. I will admit that. I'm not going to say I'm in here every single day with the kids. It does have to sit closed and do its job too. So I know that's not bad. But from a teacher standpoint, I'm still working on a curriculum, I guess you would say. I've made a PowerPoint of my own of just explaining to the kids what the system is, how it works, what hydroponics is to them. And then we go into what specifically is in the unit. So when you get your microgreens, how those go onto that pad, we talk about what's in the pad, how it works, and then what you use your microgreens for. And then when we do the other plants, they come with those little pods that were in the video earlier. And we talk about how those have to sit in the bottom first. They take in the nutrients through the water, grow those good root system first, then get put up into the next level or zone in the system. And I try to get, I haven't brought a whole class in here yet. It's a little much in this room. We also just redid the room for this purpose, so it was kind of nice. So the teachers got a new teacher's lounge just because of me. But I've had about 6 or 7 kids at a time in here just come in during like my planning or their lunch block and help me with pulling items out or resetting. They've learned how to put in the microgreens. They know how to do that on their own now. I showed a new group of kids how to harvest the mint. So they were passing that out all to their friends and showing them that they can brush their teeth with it, because middle schoolers need that. And then we just, I want to say it was last week or week before, we gave our first set of butterhead lettuce to the cafeteria to put in the school's lunches. And that went off really well. We did 2 trays on Thursday and then 2 trays on Friday to put in with just the mixed greens. And they said it went really well, you know, livened it up with some fresh greens, and the kids, it kind of caught them off guard. They're like, wait a minute, that was in that thing over there? Because the cafeteria is right outside these doors. So they can see it growing, but they don't see, you know, it just disappears the next day. So that was kind of neat to see them like grab that lunchbox and then turn and go, that was in that system and now I'm eating it. So that was really neat to see that connection.
That's awesome. I know you just mentioned they use the mint to brush their teeth.
Yes.
That's really cool. Is there any other fun ways that you've utilized the farm with the students aside from that?
So we're thinking about doing some like mint tea because everybody's dealing with the allergies right now. I know for me, my throat's been killing me. I don't know about y'all, but it's like
Virginia
caked on
pollen.
everything.
It is. That's for sure.
The pansies we have growing right now, I was told by my other culinary teacher at the high school that we can dip them in liquid sugar and then they can eat them. So we're going to try that next week. Kind of like making little like candy flowers, I guess is what you would call it. We've had some kale that's come through before and the kids have, you know, chewed that. They've always wanted to try the spice mix that's the microgreens because they think it's spicy, but it's not. But they still chew on it, you know, and there's some kids that are, you know, like I'm not a big salad fan, I'll admit. But I'll try it. So I always tell the kids, you know, I'm not going to make you eat something that's going to hurt you. So just try it. You never know what you might find. So, we do a food science lab and I've thought about bringing in like doing a blind taste test with dressings or something with the lettuce we have that we grow. Or maybe even going further of like, here's butterhead lettuce from this versus butterhead lettuce from Food Line. Can you tell me the difference? Like without me telling you that one's from the other place. So
right. And then you get to explain to them a lot of the nutritional benefits, because I know middle school especially is such a strategic time to have students make autonomous and healthy food choices. And that's really that age group where that's a lot of the first time they're exploring what they want to eat, and educating that age group is so strategic and helpful. And so I'm curious, have you noticed a bit more of an interest in healthy eating and the nutritional benefits of food with that? I know you get to use it that way to show them the difference in taste and flavor and get their hands on fresh produce that hasn't traveled from 1,000 miles away to get to their plate. But you're creating a seed to plate experience in your school. And I'm curious on that, on the other front, first off, is there interest in nutrition initiatives coming from these students? And also, are they getting interested in different career paths that potentially this kind of a program can inspire? I know that indoor farming is an emerging field. Virginia itself really wants to be the indoor farming state. And so preparing the next generation of workers in different fields like this is really crucial. And I think this farming system and the program that you've got has the potential to bring that up. I'm curious as to what your experience has been with that with your students.
So one big thing that hit my kids from the start was how the system was built. And I'll admit, for middle schoolers, I didn't really think their brain would go there, but it did. Part of it, I think, was because it sat in my shop, like, you know, untogether for a while. So they were able to kind of like look at it before it was all lit up and there's things growing in it. Plus we have our regular growing, area with soil and all that stuff in the shop so they can see the different sides. But a lot of my kids got interested in just the mechanisms and the infrastructure that comes with the system. They're intrigued to see like QR codes are being used and how there's cameras in this that are sending it to someone else and they're able to see that. So, you got the kids that are, I call them tablet kids or, iPad kids. That's something that they can come into that, reminds them that it's not just playing a game. They can actually use those skills. Maybe they're really good at writing code, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
This system does use coding, so it knows when to drop, this amount of potassium or phosphorus or potassium or nitrogen or whatever into this system. So it's really helpful to see the kids have that processing. I also have seen some kids get intrigued and just in the thought of like, wait, I can grow that myself. And that's been really neat to watch them do. They even something as simple as like the mint, they didn't realize that that's where like mint comes from. Like, oh, it's in my mint candy, it's in my mint ice cream, or in my toothpaste if they use the regular toothpaste. But then realizing where it comes from. And that's the same with like my animal science kids. We raise the chickens, we incubate the eggs and things like that. But unfortunately, there are even adults, 50-year-olds that don't know that that's where chicken nuggets come from or where an egg comes from. So getting them to connect those dots has been a huge thing. This has also opened the door for me for the culinary side, getting kids intrigued in like how to prepare food. So when we're pulling the mint to harvest and give to our teachers, they've come up with ideas of like, can it just go in a bag? Does it need to go in a box? Does it need to be pressed and sealed? Can it be kept cold or hot? So we're going into like food security and stuff like that with them. And that's been a big hit. I haven't seen too many kids ask about like, can I have one of these at my house yet? I don't think that's where their brain's going, but I love showing them that y'all have a cruise ship that literally feeds people from these, which I think is the most amazing thing ever. And that normally blows their mind enough because they're like, wait, like this isn't just something that someone put in our classroom. It's a real thing. The world uses it, and it makes them feel, different or special because we have something that can be used for the real world. And now that we're using it in the cafeteria, it's connecting that dot of like, we can feed people. We are, farmer feeds 120 people or 132 people. We can help with that benefit,
That's awesome. Yeah, I think to your point with, moving towards a more sustainable growing practices, especially in urban environments, being able to move to hydroponic farming, it gives the land time to rest. We've strip mined the soil of nutrients, and by growing indoors, we're able to add those nutrients to the plant itself. And so, like you had mentioned, this produce is not only grown locally and hyper locally, if you will, but they're also more nutrient dense because you're controlling the nutrients that go into the plants. And so like what you were doing, they can taste and see the difference of what hyperlocal and nutrient dense produce looks like. I mean,
I'm stealing that word hyper local. I'm stealing
hyperlocal. Yeah, go for it. Take it away.
I'm gonna put that on the top of the labels for salads next week. Hyper local lettuce.
Growing right here at Caroline County. Oh man. So we've heard that there's another person that enjoys some Babylon produce at your school. Can you
Yes,
a
and
little
I
bit
think it was
more?
in one of the pictures on the screen. So I have pets in my classroom, and that's little Oscar, our hedgehog. He loves the kale. None of my other animals will eat the kale, but he will, which I love it. We give the microgreens to our rabbits and our guinea pigs. And we lay the little mat out and they just chew all over it. It's so much fun. Especially when we have extra that just can't be used, or I'll even tell you the truth, like it's falling on the floor and we're like, 5-second rule doesn't count, right? So animals, not gonna be a big deal, give it to them that way. Sometimes you'll have pieces like that kale in that picture was not the greatest. So like, you don't want to put that in your salad, if you're trying to make it look good. So, but that's another great piece that we get to see from the kids is, not having the waste, and also just learning how to use it in more than one way. When we were still wondering if we could even use it in our school lunches, it was like, all right, well, I don't even know if y'all can eat it in my classroom, but I know the animals are allowed to, and they really enjoy giving them the treats and stuff. And I wasn't sure if Oscar would take it, but I was so blown away that he took that from me, because normally he only eats little grub worms and stuff. So I love that picture's in there. So
I love it. That's one of the most creative uses I've seen so far. Giving it to the animals too. They deserve the good produce as well.
yeah.
Oh, that's fun. And Kendall, can you tell us a little bit about, I know that you had mentioned a bit about the nutrient problem that you had that was, crystallization in the nutrient bottle itself. So can you explain a little bit more about the relationship with our customer success team and your account manager? And I guess, the process of getting a farm installed is actually, we send out a technician to install it and to train you guys on how to use the farming system. And that's for the gallery, the micro farm that Kendall's been using. Kendall, I'm really curious because you had something go wrong. And what was that customer support like? What was your experience? You've had a lot of great experiences as well, but yeah, how did that relationship look
Yeah,
when?
so it went a lot better than I've seen with certain things that I've had go wrong. Being a shop teacher, there's plenty of things in my shop that have broken or messed up, and you go through like the wheel of just, I mean, spin through this, spin through that, jump through that, and nothing ever happens. And with Babylon, I think, like I said, it was literally like within 24 hours of me I'd send an email saying, hey, I think something might be wrong. And they were like, send me some pictures. And I came on down here, sent some pictures, and I was like, this is what's going on. And by the end of the day, they were like, we think it might be this. We're checking your, system. And I was even checking my phone, seeing if there was something I had missed clicked or whatever. Cause like I said, I was like, I'm making this non-dummy proof. I'm going to show y'all this is a problem. And that next day, they came out, they brought the little tubes for testing like pH and electrons and all that stuff. And I even got to sit in and watch, which was really neat, because sometimes maintenance people just, they want to get in and do their job and leave. And coming in and letting me actually like see how it worked and showing me, they were even willing to show me like how they were doing it on the app, because in the future, I could do that myself, so they don't have to send someone down. So I got to help with that. And then when they came down and re-cleaned out like all the nutrients and everything later, they did the same thing. It was just, they were willing to sit and actually talk to me about what was going on and what was happening. It wasn't just the, oh, I'm just here to, check the little box and move on. And even just the other emails that I've sent, like asking about like, oh, how can I get new seeds? Or the mats they were using for the microgreens at the beginning were made of like a coconut fiber, and we were finding it was holding too much moisture. So you'd get some, I guess it's mold, I don't know if you want to call it that, but it was just creating some different consistencies in the bottom that weren't good for growth. So they told me throw those away, because I sent pictures and I said, is this normal? They said no, throw it away. And within probably the next 2 days, sent me a new box with a different type of microfiber material to put in the bottom, and it's been fine since. It's just not a biodegradable type. So, but I was like, that's not a big deal. When I give it to the animals or anything else, we'll trash it and it's fine. The other stuff we were able to like leave in the animal pen. So, but they've been very nice about anything that I've had questions about. When I had first started, I knew they weren't looking for like, oh, we have this in all these educational places. We were new to this. So, taking it from a growing for a business or, on a cruise ship, that's very different to bringing it into a classroom. And even the willingness of them like, hey, let us know if you need us to help you put something different in. Or, if I had an idea when I went down, I don't know if it was the same day that I toured the facility or not, but we were on a Zoom call with people and just, going through other items that could be in the tower at some point. Could we look at, they're always looking at updating and changing things. So I like that they send out feedback surveys. I love doing surveys, by the way. So answering those kinds of things, you do feedback on the app too. So like every time I harvest anything, I try to post a picture if there's any issues, like if it's below a 3-star, I'll post a picture and even add the comment, because that goes somewhere, because I've seen feedback come to me on, why'd you say this one was low? Well, it was because of this. And then, it may not be my fault, it may not be the system, it may have just been, I don't know, the seeds themselves, but they're able to go through that data. So they've been amazing to work with. I've loved the system compared to some of the other things we've had given to us through school that, here's a CD, good luck.
Right, right. Now that we really do, I think we've put such an emphasis on making sure our customer success is really the heartbeat of our company and forming that relationships because we want to make it easy and accessible. And so lastly, Kendall, what advice would you give to educators who are considering bringing in an indoor farming system to their classroom, to their cafeteria?
First off, it's not horribly hard, but I'm not going to say it's easy. There are going to be bumps, just like I mean, I probably dealt with the biggest bumps there were.
You're a champion about it.
I think it's one of those things like in the end, it'll be great. I definitely am not in here. Like I said, I'm not in here every single day. I'm not having to worry about it. Like as a school teacher, it's not a weekend thing. The phone takes care of it. I was worried about having to come in like during spring break or winter break and stuff like that. And it's so much easier, even compared to having my animals that have to be adopted out during breaks. And then, if you know that your harvest is coming up and it says like, oh, butterhead lettuce needs to be harvested on, let's say it says to be harvested on the 20th. Well, that's a Saturday, I think. I don't have to like come in here on Saturday the 20th and go harvest it. And I think some teachers might have that like thing in their head going, it says it has to be harvested. Like the computer's going to yell at me or so, the farmer in the cloud's going to say they're not doing their job. That's not really how it works. It can sit there longer. You can pull it early. I've let my mint go even further than it said to harvest before just to see, sometimes it's just a data collection. But that's the other thing. It's all like I say trial and error, but I don't know if that's the right wording, but it's learning all the time. So even the farm itself is learning literally because there's people, doing things with it at the same time as I'm doing things. So, no one's got it perfect. So when you get it into your school or your system, it might not look exactly like this. You might put them in there differently. You might have a different layout of systems, or maybe you do grow all of one thing at a time. But it really does become, your own little system and you make it work for yourself. But it seems scary when you first see it. I mean, it's a huge system. It's made of glass, which petrified me for middle schoolers being around it, but it really has been an awesome system to work with. And it being in a school where we're kind of gridlocked is what I call, because we're on like a hill, so we can't really grow much outside. This has been a great thing for us to do where we can grow stuff that's effective, quick, and healthy for these kids. We're not just growing like some marigolds and sending them home with the kids that, I might die tomorrow, or growing a bean in a bag. Like they literally get to see something grow from a seed with no soil at that, to the point that they can then eat it and, actually use it in things. So it's been a huge connector for our kids in our, county. We're also Caroline County starting to grow. We're getting more and more subdivisions, which, watch me roll my eyes for that one. But I mean, these kids, need to know where their food's coming from and the importance of keeping the land here. And, if we don't have the land, then we've got to go to things like this and growing on your rooftops and in the alleys. And, they've got to have that initiative to think about that. So, but it's definitely worth it. Don't be scared to try it. And I mean, I might be the only one doing it right now, but I'll gladly still help anybody that needs the advice or just, help with trying to figure it out. So.
Oh, well, thank you, Kendall. You are not the only one doing this, thankfully. And thank you so much for sharing your time and your story. That's a wonderful note to end this time on with the interview. Kendall, feel free to stay on for a little bit. We're going to do a quick round of Q&A from the audience. But Kendall, thank you so much for your time and congrats on the award, Teacher of the Year again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Reckon you're set to go for a National Teacher of the Year award anytime soon. I will vote for you on that. But yeah, we're going to move into a quick phase of Q&A with the audience. Is there any questions right now that Kendall or I can answer for you guys?
Well, first of all, someone asked if they could get in touch with Kendall, and she said, yes, we can share her information. So I'm going to do that right now in the chat.
Oh.
So there you go, everyone. You can, if you'd like to reach out to her via email or phone, she's willing to do that. And if you give me 1 second, I'll be right back with you with other questions.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. And we're also going to go into a time where we're going to share a new product that we've recently designed for specifically in classroom hands-on learning. It's called the STEM Garden. It's a smaller sized version of the gallery farm that we've been talking about so far. And we're going to get into a section on that. So feel free to stick on for that. But Chris, what other questions do we have right now?
The next question was, how do you manage the distribution of your harvest? How much do you use in the dining hall versus give away to students versus give away to animals?
Yeah, Kendall, over to you.
Yes. So one big thing for me is, so the way that this system is set up, there's 4 large trays in each zone. With the mint, I kind of just go through, we, mow it down is what I call it. They cut it down about halfway. We put it into bags. We'll do sandwich bags. We'll do quart size bags. I have some teachers that love the mint, so they'll ask for a gallon size bag. We leave it in the teacher's lounge with a label on it of the date. I get them into the food safety stuff. And they go through whatever doesn't get taken in that first day of harvest, we then take to the animals or the kids can take home. With anything that's going to the cafeteria, like I said, with the butterhead lettuce, we did 2 full trays, did 1 salad for the week or 1 day of salads, and then 2 more trays. So that did a whole zone. I haven't figured the actual exact numbers of everything, but I'm trying to get better at figuring out when things could harvest so that we could try to do a salad a month or every 2 weeks. So we're working on that. It's still a process, but as things grow, we kids are more than welcome to take it home. It's not like it's costing me money or anything or them money. We always say donations are accepted, or let us know what it was like. Our school just did a survey actually on a parfait they brought up. And the kids were, willing to have that thought. So we actually thought about adding that to our thing when we do the, add something else out new and just see what people think. So, but you don't have to, when you harvest, it doesn't all have to go to one person. That's the other good thing, is it's kind of up to you where it goes. I've looked into seeing how you can preserve things to make them last longer. I just recently dehydrated strawberries. It took 12 hours. Don't suggest it. But it got rid of, 12 quarts of strawberries that were going to go bad that I'd sold from a fundraiser. So looking at that kind of stuff for this system too has been kind of interesting to watch. If I have extra kale, what can we do with it? Can we freeze it? Does it need to be washed? Does it need to be bagged? And the kids are able to do that research with me, because I'll admit I don't know all of it. So we just do it together.
That's great. How many plants can grow at once, variety wise?
So in the gallery system that I have, there are 5 zones. The bottom zone is where your plants start. So there's 2 sections for seed pods is what I call them. And then 2 sections for your microgreens that lay on a mat. And then from that, your other 4 zones are where those plants get transplanted to as they grow. So you can have up to 4 different types of things growing if you set it up right to get them to move through. Right now I have kale, pansies are in the top. The middle one is empty because that did have the butterhead lettuce. Mint is in the middle, and then kale is right here. And then the bottom is full of new growth that'll get moved up later on. So the microgreens come through, they just kind of cycle through. So you put them in, they grow, and then they just pull out. You don't have to move them anywhere. Everything else gets moved. And the app tells you when you scan the QR codes, how long it has to be in each zone, how long to transplant it, how long to harvest. And it tells you when it needs to be removed, all of that. So, and we also have had another question I know a lot of people will ask is, what if you have too many in a pod? Because not all of them will grow, right? We've actually taken, and my kids have started little experiments to find out, if there's a pod in here that didn't fit, we'll take it to our grow lab and try to grow it in soil. We had some mint that survived for a little bit and then it died off. We're not really sure what happened to it. But it was neat just to see the difference in what happened in this system where it's nutrients all the time and water all the time versus in there where kid probably forgot to water it for 2 days and, didn't do this with it, that kind of thing. So that's the other thing you get to do with it too, is kind of play with where you want things to go. And the app just kind of helps you figure out, like, you get to choose where it's going in your tower. And, I've moved the lettuce to zone 4. So now the cloud farmer knows where everything is in that system.
That's great. The rest of the questions we have, Michael, I think you're going to be able to answer them in your section coming up. So that's all we have for now.
Awesome. Kendall, thank you so much for jumping on. It's been awesome to get to know you. And we're excited to keep partnering with you and bringing STEM gardening to life in your school.
No problem. Thank you, guys. If you have any other questions, just let me know. I'm hoping to keep this going and, make it more of a concrete situation for next year with my kids. I got to go and shear sheep now. So
Okay.
sheared one yesterday, shearing one today, got to shear another one tomorrow. So
life of the FFA.
yes.
I love
Thank
it.
you,
Well,
guys.
thank you, Kendall. And guys, we're going to go to a quick section of a video on our new product, the STEM Garden now. So Chris, feel free to play that whenever you're ready. Thank you guys again for sticking around for this section on our a bit more details on our products and service and what we've got going on here at Babylon Farms. And so, like we mentioned with Kendall, we exist to create enriching and interactive STEM education programs at your schools that help get students engaged and closer to their food supply. And so in announcing this new product, the STEM Garden, we have the opportunity to not only have options like the gallery, which is that remotely managed system which has an engaged end user like Kendall, but we're also bringing now a new product to the classroom designed specifically for hands-on learning. I'm going to get to that, but first, the details on the gallery and how that service works. I know Kendall had explained it really well. But we have built a system where you can grow your own food all year round with no green thumb required. We make on-site growing really easy by sending you all of your seeds and nutrients pre-seeded into these essentially K-cups that are for seeds. You'll scan a QR code that they come with on your Babylon Guided Growing app. The app takes off, like Kendall mentioned, and guides you through each step of the process. You'll plant the seeds into a germination dome. The app will remind you in about 2 weeks, hey, it's ready to move from germination dome to level 1. And you'll move and transplant those germinated seedlings over to the next section of the growth cycle. They continue growing, and the app will tell you when they're ready to harvest. And like Kendall had emphasized, we actually do have that cloud farmer, if you will, that is remotely managing these gallery farms from a distance. And so we have a fleet of these across the world, and each farm has a designated account manager that provides ongoing training and support, like we had talked about with Kendall. So when things are going well, you've got someone in your corner, and when things aren't going well, we've got somebody to help you. So what's included in the service is the gallery micro farm itself, and that can be either purchased outright for around $15,000 is the farm of the cost, or the cost of the farm, excuse me. And the monthly service, that remote management, is $395 a month. So option one, you can purchase the farm outright and have the subscription service for that remote management and your month-to-month seed and nutrient subscription and consumables. Or you can lease to own the farm for $6.99 a month on a 36-month contract. So that's on how to acquire the farm. And then obviously you've got your guided growing app with that, your monthly consumables that come to you. We also provide you with marketing content and activities that help you learn how to utilize the farm better, and that ongoing customer support and success from an account manager that you're going to know by name. Their names are Matt, Karen, and we have a new one named Taylor as well. And so hopefully some of you guys will get to know them. And fun fact, one of these farms it's 15 square feet in space that it takes up in your school, but it's equivalent to 2,000 square feet of outdoor farmland. So we've made it really easy to install these farms. One of our technicians comes out, like we mentioned, and sets up the farm and gets you trained and ready to roll. And all that's needed on your end is a 1/4-inch flexible water line and a designated outlet for the farm. The farms all have a 5G hotspot inside that's giving us that live feedback so we can remotely manage it for you, and we don't have to tap into your Wi-Fi. Another thing that I don't think we mentioned is that each of the farm's trays where everything is growing is all dishwasher safe. So every harvest, you're going to pull those out once you're done with your harvesting activity, and you can place those into an industrial dishwasher, or have the kids run and take that to the dishwasher. And really, one of the main things we've designed here with the gallery, other systems, they have more of the plants exposed to open air, whereas we've designed a food safe and enclosed system that has a positive air pressure, so it keeps out bugs. You don't have to use pesticides, and really it allows the farm to be safe, so the students can't just go and open the doors and get into the produce whenever they want. It's all under lock and key by the operator. We also offer custom branding, so we can put your school's logo on this, or if you have a corporate sponsor for this initiative who wants to donate the farm to the school, we can put their logo on it, and that can create a really good relationship in your community with the businesses that are present, and even allow them to go and volunteer with the students on a week-to-week basis. We have over 45 different crop varieties that you can choose from. I think we're at 52 now. Those are lettuces, leafy greens, herbs, microgreens, and even edible flowers. We also like this to be a tool for your sustainability showcasing. And so this can be a focal point for your larger district sustainability initiatives. And so we're going to give you a semi-annual sustainability report card showing how many gallons of water you saved, how many pounds of nitrogen you avoided into waterways, and food waste that you've reduced by taking part in indoor farming, which is much more sustainable than outdoor farming practices. They can also help your building achieve different well and fit well scores, as you know, just kind of a building sustainability initiative standpoint. And lastly, guys, we're so excited to announce the STEM Garden. So the STEM Garden, you've already seen, this is an analog system that takes the same ease of use as the gallery. And instead of having a farmer in the cloud remotely manage the system for you, they're controlled locally on this control unit. And so the students take part in the activity, all the way from planting the seeds into the grow foam, popping them in the germination domes, letting them grow, and bringing what they're learning in the classroom to life right in front of their eyes, and create a community farming experience in the classroom. We offer all the same different seeds, varieties of leafy greens, herbs, microgreens, and flowers that they can grow, and it is still a food safe enclosed system. So you don't have to worry about students sneezing on the produce. And like I said, they are in a positive air pressure environment, so no bugs that you have to worry about. The STEM Garden MSRP is at $6,500, so it's about 1/3 of the cost and 1/3 of the size. And for multiple units for, let's say, a district initiative, we can bring that cost down a bit. For your consumables and nutrients, instead of receiving the pre-seeded bundles that come with the QR code on the app, you'll receive the seeds and the nutrients and the grow foam medium separately, so the students can do that part of the growth process themselves, and bring that into the full life cycle of the plants. There's also the option to add a custom front panel. So I'm working with some school districts that are looking for corporate sponsorships. And really this allows the corporate sponsor to be able to put their logo on the unit, and have, again, that healthy relationship with their community, giving back and empowering the students with these technology pieces. Because we know that a lot of ESSER funds were just cut. Grants can take a long time. And so please after this, ask me any questions on that. I'm going to have a link to my calendar where you can book a time with me directly. And all STEM Garden purchases come with a welcome box and a 12-month parts warranty if anything does go wrong with your system. And like I mentioned, the farm is a tool for you. And so these can integrate really easily into your already existing STEM curriculum, or we can partner you with some of our curriculum providers that we're working with who have designed hydroponic lessons, video activities that's age specific and grade specific that can pair that with the STEM garden. But you can really easily integrate it yourself and do nutrition workshops, cooking classes, an Earth Day farmers market where you have all the students growing their own food throughout the year, and then they can showcase those skills and display what they've learned to the community and have a community garden and community farmers market. There's Mother's Day flower planting. They can bring flowers home for that they've grown themselves in class. And again, to emphasize the point, this is a tool for you to inspire engagement and learning about where your food comes from. And so on that, I'll leave up this QR code. It'll take you directly to my calendar. Feel free to grab a time on there if you want to learn more about either the STEM garden or the gallery. I can also point you in the directions of different grant funding opportunities that we've come across for this and our curriculum partners as well. And I'd be happy to talk about corporate sponsorships as well. That's all I've got today for you guys. Thank you so much for coming, and we'll see you next time.